Well, welcome everybody. This is your host, Ken D. Foster, and today is an amazing day to transform everything you know in your life that's not working. You know, when I look around the world, I realize that most people are either sick, poor, or unhappy. Why is this? Well, it's because most people keep their minds focused on the world and its troubles. They're stressed out, they're overworked, they're overwhelmed. But those of us who have done the work and continue to do the work are aligned with our higher selves and have come to understand that we are here to grow, to learn, to evolve, to become the best versions of ourselves. You may have heard that before. Well, now is the time to really look at that. Because if you'd like to have less drama, less trauma, less overwhelm, less stress in your life, then I encourage you to stay tuned to this show. This show is going to really help you to change up what's going on in your world. So before I get to that, though, I want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, and then I'm going to talk to you about some of the guests we have coming on the show. So I have a sponsor called JBK Wellness Labs. And listen, if you have a dream to create a wellness product, I'd like to talk to you about JBK Wellness Labs. They are a respected contract and white label manufacturer who helps companies and individuals develop and manufacture dietary supplements, topical personal care, beauty products, and hemp-based CBD products. JB Wellness products can be found at the high-end resorts such as Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, as well as the national grocery store chains such as Whole Foods. They will walk you through every step of the way from concept to completion of your final product. So if you'd like to take the next step, if this is you, you've been thinking, I got a product out there, I'd really like to get to market, I encourage you to check them out. Just go to jbkwellnesslabs.com. That's jbkwellnesslabs.com and check them out. So today, the show is really about helping you up-level your thinking, your energy, and your success. And I have two experts who are going to do that, help you to do that today. So stay tuned to this. This could be the day that your life really changes for the better. So let's think about this. You know, when it comes to solving problems, most people put the cart before the horse. They focus on changing their communities, changing the world. There's a lot of this going on out there today, isn't there? You know, you've got a lot of people that are out trying to make a difference in the world, trying to change the world for the better. But what's the missing link here? Well, as I said, they put the cart before the horse because you have to change yourself first before you start to change the world. Wouldn't you think that's more important, to change yourself? You know, it's like one moon, if you think of the moon, is brighter than all the stars in the sky, right? So if you become that bright moon in people's lives, then all of a sudden, you know, they want to be around you. They feel your charisma, they feel your energy, but you know, it takes work to do that. So how do we do this? Well, it starts with imagination. And you see, imagination combined with wisdom and combined with actions can change everything. So you need philosophy, you need strategies, and you need actions around that if you're going to really change everything. You know, when I say about doing the work, what do I really mean about that? Well, a lot of us have looked at what's going on underneath the surface, the subconscious beliefs and experiences of the past that are driving behaviors, right? How do you know if you need to change a behavior? Well, you're reacting. That's how. Somebody says something to you, and now you get upset. Somebody says the weather's going to be bad tomorrow, and now you're thinking, "Oh gosh, I hate cloudy weather. I hate rainy weather." So there's something inside of you that needs to change, develop, or grow. Most of us don't want to look at that, but those that do look at that, because there's a reason for that, we start to have more joy, more peace, more happiness, more contentment. Listen, I've been coaching individuals for 26 years. What I found is that so many people, well, it doesn't matter how much their income is, whether they have no income or they have millions coming in every day. It doesn't really matter. What matters, they're all seeking the same thing. They want to be happy. They want to be content. They want to be secure. They want to feel connected to their families, their friends. They want to make a difference in the world, right? But how do you do that unless you change yourself first? That's the whole piece. All right. So listen, why am I even saying this? I have a new book that's coming out. It's called The Courage to Change Everything. You may have seen it. It's you can find it at couragetochange.us, couragetochange.us. And what I've done in that book is I've laid it out for people of today. Most of us don't have more than 10 minutes of our day that we want to spend reading much. Although that's not what I recommend. I recommend to all my clients that they read a book at least a month. But this isn't a book you read you don't read from cover to cover. You read it daily. Because what it has in it, we were talking about, it has the philosophies. The philosophies of wealth and creating wealth in all areas of your life. It also has strategies to help you do that. And then you are the one that applies the actions daily. Well, when you're motivated, when your attitude is right, you will take actions daily, right? We all do. Anyway, I hope you'll check it out. It's called The Courage to Change Everything, and it's daily strategies and essential wisdom to unlock your inner genius. All right, now I'm going to add to my stream here my first guest, and her name is Penelope Jean Hayes. And Penelope, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here with me.
Hi, Ken. Hi, everybody.
It's great. Listen, Penelope is the foremost leader in the field of contagious and osmotic energy, known as virinology. I love that word. Virinology. Am I saying that right?
You are.
Okay. She's appeared on television hundreds of times. She's been a guest on Dr. Phil, ABC News, and internationally. In 2020, she founded the Viral Energy Institute for personal and interpersonal and planetary wellness. Penelope is an author of the books The Magic of Viral Energy, An Ancient Key to Happiness, Empowerment, and Purpose. Penelope, that's an awesome. I know you've done so much. I get your bio, and there's so much here. It
just sounds so impressive, but only today is my first opportunity to be on the Ken D. Foster shows, and now I've really made it. This is it. Thank you.
Well, I'm humbled by you being here, and thank you for saying that. But I really appreciate you coming on the show today. And I read your bio, short bio, but you've really accomplished so much, and it's great to have you here. Let's talk about viral energy. What is viral energy?
So the fancy way to say it is it's the contagious nature of energy in social interaction and the environments all around us. But in simple terms, what this just means is a smile is infectious, laughter is contagious. We all know that when somebody walks into a room, you can get a good vibe or a bad vibe from them. We all know about the home team advantage in sports. This contagious energy of the crowd transmits to the players. So we've heard these things. We know them. They're even sometimes part of our vernacular. But until you really understand how that affects you, you're kind of missing a lot of what you could be taking advantage of here. So viral energy is light energy and heavy energy. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that all energy moves, is contagious, it flows, it affects you, it affects your presence. And that presence is the power that you have to create your life. So we tend to call that our personal power. We've all heard that term, your personal power. Well, what is your personal power? Your personal power is this, energy inside of you that you create your life with. So is it full of toxins? So the light and then the heavy is just, the clouding of the light. So that's by the toxins. So what are those things that are affecting you and your personal power? And from there, how are you creating your life?
I really like that. Well, okay. So energy, once we feel this power, this energy, this life force flowing through us,
exactly.
you know, is this, how does this attune to, let's say, law of attraction? I mean, all of a sudden when you're feeling it, are you starting to attract into people, places, and situations that you need to grow? What's happening with this energy? Why would we even want to feel it?
Yeah, so we hear a lot about the law of attraction, and there's a difference between law of attraction and viral energy. So law of attraction is part of the story. And the other part of the story is that all energy, all the transfer of energy happens through osmosis. So we know law of attraction is like energy attracts to it like energy. So think of a radio putting out, you've got the transmitter putting out a signal, and then you have the receiver, maybe that's the radio inside your home or your car, and it's attracting at that very same level. So we know what law of attraction is. Viral energy is that energy is transferred through osmosis, and your being has a semi-permeable energy field. So your personal power is semi-permeable, which means whatever you're marinating in, whatever you're soaking in your environment, the people around you, your friends, your work environment, or you're working in a cubicle, is it negative? Is it positive? All of those things permeate into your semi-permeable energy field. And so just through a very passive process of osmosis, not even attraction, you're picking up those influences around you. And that is what you're creating your life with. That is the power that you have to create everything in your life.
Well, you know, a lot of people are picking up energies around them, but they're picking up negative energies, and they're allowing that energy to flow into their minds. And for me, I mean, I can watch the news, but a lot of people can't watch the news. They turn on the news, and all of a sudden they become the news, right? They take on that news energy, right? So let's how do we not do that, right?
Yeah, you have to mitigate these things. So at the end of the day, it's only you that this affects. This is your life, people. You know, it matters to you because it should matter to you. And those things need to be mitigated. So if you can do it, and some people, their job, they really need to know all of the news, and that's okay. But some people are extra sensitive to it. And so we need to be just mindful of what we're taking in. And that's not just the news, that's the phone call from the frantic friend. We've all had that. So you see it, you see them coming through on your phone. You're wondering if you should slide the little green, slider. Should you take that call when you're about to go into an important meeting? Should you take that call when you're about to be on a podcast with Ken Foster and you want to have good energy? Probably
don't. You probably don't want to do that. But listen, some people do take that. Okay, they take on those calls. They do that. And here's the interesting thing. So I've been coaching 26 years. Yeah. I found that everybody's an empath, right? Everybody's empathic. At least the ones that come and work with me. So if you're empathic, you are taking on other people's energy in their field and stuff. But how do we just really not take that on and allow ourselves to stay in tune with the higher realms of consciousness?
You have to do it with your filters up. So, the old Star Trek deflector shields up. It's kind of the same thing. So it is a mindfulness. It is an awareness that viral energy is something that affects you, that is contagious. So we have to just have awareness. Will take you a really long way in life. There's also intention. So when you set intentions, those intentions flow out into the world, and a lot of things tend to manifest. So are your intentions in the right place? Are you filtering that, all of the things that you have, all of the influences in your life? So it is really important that we do that. And if you're not doing it, you know what? It's just you that you're hurting. So if you're someone who can take in everything and you can be okay with that, then, God bless. If you're somebody who that sometimes you're even susceptible to depression or just getting, down, or things, tend to weigh heavy on you, you might want to put a little bit more of those filters up. But always remember that it's not the people that did this to you. So it's not the friend on the phone that did this to you. If your life is in shambles and, things aren't where you want it to be, the news didn't do it to you. Your job didn't do it to you. Your friends in those environments, while they're factors, they didn't do it to you, because what is affecting you is inside. So it doesn't come from without, it comes from within. And so that personal presence is what you're building your life with. So
I love that. I
it's
love
all
that. Well,
coming
listen, I got to take a quick break. When we come back,
Yeah.
I want to hear your story about how you broke your back and really came back. I mean, a lot of people are struggling today with really challenging things. I don't think they're breaking their backs, but they might be having a lot of stuff's going on in the world.
A
So
lot of
let's talk about that when we come back. All righty. You know, there comes a time when you know you need a restart and you want to regain control of your life. A time to seek freedom from anxiety, addiction, and other issues that may be bringing you down. It's a time to heal. It's a time to reemerge as the real you. And Via Kalima is a residential treatment program in La Costa, California, and that offers renewal. Villa Kalima is a holistic program exclusively for women. It's individualized treatment. They focus on healing the cause, not temporarily masking symptoms, because that's the only way to really recover and to feel you again. So Villa Kalima is located in a beautiful, peaceful, resort-like setting and is a licensed and accredited residential treatment center accepting a variety of health insurances. So if that's you, are you ready to let go of any addictions in your life? You know, if you are, contact them. You can reach them at area code 760-814-8214. Again, it's area code 760-814-8214. Well, coming up in my second half of my show, I'm going to have the co-founder of Wasabi Publicity. So I wanted to talk a little bit about them real quick for those of you that are out in the world. You want to make a difference. You want to make a change in the world. Wasabi Publicity is recognized by PR Week and Good Morning America for their innovative business practices and the way they work with companies and individuals who are committed to doing good in the world, whether it's creating an engaging website, building a passionate social media tribe, or connecting with their clients with top media influencers like Good Morning America, the New York Times, or Oprah. Everything they do is instilled with passion, impact, and balance. So if you're an author, speaker, or an organization committed to changing the world, and you need a partner to support you with PR, or with your website or social media, go to wasabipublicity.com to schedule a call. wasabipublicity.com. All righty. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is your host, Ken D. Foster, and today I'm speaking with author of The Magic of Viral Energy, an ancient key to happiness, empowerment, and purpose, Penelope Jean Hayes. Hey, Penelope, great to have you back here.
Thank you.
All right, your story is amazing. Let's just take I want to back up a step.
I've earned it.
Dive into that. What the heck? What is your story?
Where do you want to start? So, you know what? I first want to say that telling my personal story was something that I never did until just the last few years. So I had already reached success in my career, was on national television, in fact, international television, before I ever shared my background, my personal background. I just felt, you know what, that was my personal stuff. And I thought maybe it would turn some people off when they, kind of heard my whole background. So I just sort of kept that in a box. And one day when I was writing this book, The Magic of Viral Energy, it was actually the writing of this book that I encouraged myself to share myself with others. So I started to notice that when I was sharing myself with others, they were really responding to it. And so I decided, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for you because, if it will help other people, then it's definitely worth it. So my story starts at 15 years old when I ran away from home beautiful, nice, upper middle class family. It's just, teenage hormones and all the stuff. We had moved 3 times consecutively, and it was a bad year. And before I know it, I'm having a fight with my parents and stuffing all my clothes in a black garbage bag and out the door I go. So I was homeless at 15 years old. And from there had a number of experiences that you can just imagine what that was like. And still graduated from school, top of my class, worked really hard to, pull myself up from my bootstraps, and to, it was blood, sweat, and tears that actually had me become a very successful person at a young age as well. And also, I was a competitive gymnast, and I broke my back in gymnastics, a floor routine. And it was years later that I had a spinal fusion, so a lumbar spinal fusion, because those things tend to get worse over years. So it was, in pain emotionally, in pain physically, and living like that. And I've, never taken pharmaceuticals for it, just sort of, lived with that. I didn't know what it was like to not be in pain. And, in my 20s, had a relationship that fell apart, somebody I thought I was going to marry. In fact, instead of getting engaged, we broke up. And so I had a lot of things that I think a lot of people can relate to, in terms of it's the perfect storm. So, it's the relationship, maybe they're not happy with their job. And how many times do we hear people say, I have a great job, but I'm not really happy? And that's the case with myself. At that time, I was working at a bank. And I had a great job, but I just felt unfulfilled. So everything came to a head. And on a New Year's Eve, 2006, turning 2007, I felt suicidal and had a miserable, lonely night, fresh from this breakup, thinking, my whole life was over. Where would I go from here? And decided to, I just called out to the ceiling, to the sky, to God, to the universe, whoever was listening. And I said, if I can make it through this, I will tell everyone how I did it. And from there, I turned my life around. So I really resonate with your book, the book that's coming out soon. Please remind us of the title.
Yeah, the title is The Courage to Change Everything, Daily Strategies and Essential Wisdom to Unlock Your Inner Genius.
Yes, so I changed everything. So 3 months after that New Year's Eve experience, I changed everything. And for some people, maybe they just need incremental changes. For me, I had tried that for years. I was a student of metaphysics and spirituality. I knew all of the affirmations, had them all posted all over my apartment. I was doing everything that I could do to pull myself up of my, one rung of the ladder at a time out of my situation. And for me, I had to change everything. So
people want to know, okay, so let me ask you this. Okay. So give me 3 tips for my audience on how to change. Okay. I think they want to know. It's great that you've gone through it, I've gone through it, but how the heck do they do it?
Well, speaking from my own experience, again, some people don't need as much change as I needed. I needed, a full quantum leap. I needed to reboot my life to change everything. So not necessarily for every person, but when I did change everything, I moved countries. I moved to, a new place, and I had nothing at the time. I had just like a little bit, I think I had $4,000 when I cashed in my retirement savings. I quit my job. And I took my cat, my clothes, and my car, and I moved to Nashville, Tennessee from Ontario. So for me, I was now, instead of stagnating, I was circulating. And I think that is one of the keys that instantly I got a boost, because I was now in the flow. So now I'm doing it. It was scary, but now I'm doing it. And so I would say one of those things is try something new, try something different, and immediately get that influx of new energy into your pond. So I like to use that analogy of this is your pond, all this stuff in your life. And if you're just stagnating, you're unhappy in your job, whatever those things are for you, do something that is going to bring new energy into that pond. So if you need,
I love that, because what you're talking about, Penelope, is you got to change your environment. The environment for most people is stronger than their willpower. So when you got yourself out of that environment, you were able to step back into yourself, is what I heard.
Yes, that. And also just, even though it's scary, it wasn't boring. It wasn't stagnant. It was something different, and I needed to do that. And then the next thing I did is, as soon as I got to Tennessee, I started meditating every day. So that's one of the things. If you're talking about three things, add daily meditation into your daily practice, because for me, it changed a lot of things. You connect when you're meditating to a higher source. You could call it your own higher wisdom, whatever you want to call it. And there's just this portal, this sort of flow of wisdom that opens up. And for me, a lot of the philosophies that I've intuited over the years were through meditation.
Very good. Very good.
And then the third thing is action.
Yeah, Penelope, let me, well, I'm running out of time here a little bit. So I need to get to your book. I want to tell them about your book. Tell me tell me about the book, and then why would people want to read that book?
So when I started getting my own life on track, a lot of people would come to me. It started just being friends, and then it was other people, and they're like, what are you doing to, have all of this, success, but also happiness? And so I started coaching and counseling people. And then it was, what, we just need to put this into a book so that I can reach more people. So for me, I think everything in life should start with a foundational intention. And my foundational intention is to raise other people up to their higher self, so they no longer want to hurt each other, hurt the environment, hurt animals. And for me, this is my life's purpose. So everything that I know, I have several books, but this book is this is the nightstand book. This is the, Bible of what you need to do to have a happy life, a successful life. And it's actually a lot of fun. It's told through true short stories. So it's a lot of fun. It's an easy read.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, listen, you got the microphone right now, and our show goes out to hundreds of thousands of listeners every week. What's your message to the world right now? What do you got going with, what do you want to tell people right now with everything that's going on with masks, with revolution, people protesting, with government shutdown, isolation, installation, whatever, all this stuff going on? What's your message out there right now, Penelope?
Yeah, there's so much going on in the world right now. And so I think in terms of what's going on in the world right now, I just encourage everybody to be empowered within yourselves. So you have a voice, and there is something called The Power of One. There was a movie way back, and I think it was 1982, called The Power of One, which really resonated with me. You have the power. Your voice means something, and you have the power to be the change that you want to see in this world. And you have a purpose in this lifetime. And when you discover that purpose, you will find your happiness on the path to that purpose. Go get it.
Go get it. All right. Well, the book sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to getting my copy, and that is so good. Well, all righty. So listen, I thank you for sharing with me today. What I'd like to do at later on the show here, I'm going to bring you and my next guest together, and we're going to have a little discussion about maybe some of the ways we could influence people to make the changes they need to make in today's society. So I hope you'll stay with me for the rest of the show. I'll put you in the green room, and we're going to make our transition right now. Well, I'm so happy to have you on my show today. What an amazing day today is. Listen, I have a new sponsor. They're called Cura Life is the company, and they have an effective product that is called Cura-Lin. It's 100% natural glucose support supplement for people looking to maintain healthy blood sugar levels without negative effects. If you're anybody like me in the afternoon, I was crashing, right? And I would have this down energy. I don't have diabetes or anything, but it just is low. So I started using this product, and guess what? It's gone. It works by blending an ancient Ayurvedic practice with modern science and technology into a spectacular synergistic glucose support formula. Each Cura-Lin capsule is manufactured close to the source using only premium ingredients, which is all I put in my body. I don't know about you. But to learn more about this product, go to curalife.com. That's CURALIFE.com. life.com. And when you click on the shop button, if you put in the code COURAGE, that's easy to remember, COURAGE, you'll receive $20 off your first order and 15% off your first year's supply. How cool is that? Well, I am so blessed this morning to have Michelle Tennant Nicholson, and she is the Good Morning America producer, Maple Chain. Let me start that over. I missed something here. Okay. Anyway, Michelle is she's a publicist, and she's a 5-star publicist. She is been in this business.
That's what Mabel Chan said. America. That little moniker comes from Mabel Chan at GMA. Good Morning America. That's what you're reading right there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, Michelle's been in this business 25 years. She co-owns a company called Wasabi Publicity. She represents global nonprofits, causes, and people who make a difference in the world. They are my PR firm. Michelle, I'm so happy to have you here, and it's great to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Ken. Yeah, it's about time that we did this, right? We've only worked together for however many years, and I've never been on the show. And yeah, that little thing about Mabel Chan was interesting at Good Morning America. One time I was, helping her with a segment. She goes, you know what? You're just a 5-star publicist. So that little moniker, sorry that the way it was written tripped you just a bit. But that was kind of like, it stuck to me. And I was like, oh, can I actually quote you on that? And she was like, sure, quote me on that. But that's really that 5-star moniker. That's what we're going to talk about today, is not that, but how you can actually use the press to be your loudspeaker and how you affect change that way. So that's what I'm really excited about talking about today.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you about it because, right now, a lot of people are using the press. And I have to tell you, there are a lot of agendas out there that people are using the press for their agendas to push their agendas onto a whole bunch of unsuspecting people out there. And that's, and I love what you do because, you're aligned with me. We put out good in the world. We put out truth, wisdom, courage, and love into the world. That's what you do. I've seen you do this with time and time again with some of the most prolific brands and speakers and authors of our time. So what's happening in the media today?
Well, one of the things is what you just said. And first of all, let's just pause just a minute and thank you for the work that you're doing. Okay, Ken? Right? Because another thing is that what we say about our press, we don't thank them. I thank you for putting good out in the world. I thank you for delivering this message, for having guests like Penelope on today to talk about the energy that we're actually virally catching from each other. So when I get the opportunity to speak to a press person who is making an impact in the world, first, thank you. Okay. The other thing that's happening is our press. The other thing is like, who are you talking to? If you speak to somebody who's very young, they're going to say, what do you mean press? You mean like Insta? That was actually a quote from somebody. Don't you love that? I was like, no, like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, Good Morning America. I said, but that's adorable. I'm so old,
I can relate to that.
Right? It's like, because some of our younger people, they only look at Instagram. So the other thing is, the stories that you're consuming consume you. So that's the other thing is like, what are you watching? What type of stories do you let just consume your life every day, whether it's on the news or on social media or with just your general family and friends? So the thing that's happening with the press today is that, number one, they're under attack. And the other thing is that we need to get a little more conscious about what we're tuning into. You know what I'm saying?
Boy, do I ever know what you're saying, and it's, we become what we watch. I want to say that, the old adage, well, you become like your 6 closest friends. Right now, I don't know what your 6 closest friends are doing, but I know if you're watching the media, you're putting that in your mind, like Michelle just said, time and time again, you're becoming this. Right. So how do we find the good press? How do we find those shows, those people, where are they, Michelle? I mean, you're on one station, but how do you find the rest?
Well, it's interesting, how that's like a question of like, how do you find good food? It's different for everybody, right? Good food. So I'm eat organically. I'm very conscious about what I put into my body. But I know other people, they don't care. They're going to eat junk food. So that's the same sort of thing. Like, well, when you turn on the TV, you change the dial, you're looking at a feed on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or what are you actually digesting? You're literally digesting that, right? And so then just ask yourself how you feel, because it's also, how does it lead you? We have a joke in my family when my husband comes home. I will tell one on myself, okay? So I also am human. And one of the things that I love, I call it my low vibration TV. And I do watch Forensic Files. I'm sorry. I love that show. It's like they usually get the bad guy. And so my husband will come home and he'll be like, can you watch something a little less murdery? Because people love those types of whodunit shows. And so I can't watch too much of that, though, because I notice that I start to get a little depressed. I start to get a little paranoid. So the other thing is turn off the channel, especially on low vibration TV. If it's not making you feel good, you have to turn it off. The other thing is on news, how people always go, I can't watch the news. Well, why not like change the context of what you're watching? Because
I love what you're saying, because I think we need to get, I don't think it's not about watching news. It's about getting a broad spectrum of what that news is giving you, right? It's not about listening to the left or listening to the right or listening to the good guys or bad guys. It's about getting a broad spectrum so you can make your own choices.
That's right. And that person, that journalist, that freelancer, that host, whoever's speaking, their voice is on loudspeakers. So another opportunity is to kind of ask yourself questions. Well, in this conversation, what am I actually committed to? And does this actually move forward what I'm committed to in my life? So if we think about press as your loudspeaker, as far as like, my authors and my motivational speakers or nonprofits and charities who are making a difference, I say find the breaking news of the day and then be part of that conversation, because it's what shapes our life. So news is about, it are these macro conversations that make up our life. So how do we impact it? Mm-hmm. And then one of the 3 tips, the drill, because you have all your people on actually say like, well, what are the 3 tips, the action tips and whatnot? But that's really important, because then what do we do with that information? What kind of action steps happen after you watch that news or that story, that book? Once you absorb that, then what are you going to do with that? Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. I love that a lot. So, hey, listen, I'm going to take a quick break. When we get back, I'm going to take a little deeper dive. You interviewed 250 reporters, and I'd like to take a little deep dive into what that's about and how our audience will benefit from learning about that. So we'll be right back. And all righty. Well, this is your host, Ken D. Foster, and today we have an amazing opportunity to really make some changes in this world. And I want to thank a few of my sponsors real quick for making this possible. First is E360 TV. If you're not tuned into that, if you're not watching E360 TV, you really ought to be. They've got some of the most powerful, prolific authors, speakers, trainers, and motivators that'll really help you to change your life, change your thinking. Also, I want to give a shout out to talkradio.nyc. That's talkradio.New York City. We've been on their network now for about a year. We're getting great results for you guys out there. Thank you so much for everything you do over there at Talk Radio NYC. And also Health Radio UK Health Radio. Thank you so much, everybody out in Europe there. Give you a shout out. We love being in Europe. We love everything that you guys are doing out there, or some of the things anyway. I get not all of it, but anyway. Health Radio out there in Europe is a really great station, so I hope you tune into them. All righty. Well, listen, I want to let you know that I am interviewing Michelle Tennant Nicholson right now, and she has been on Good Morning America, and the producer Mabel Chain calls her the 5-star publicist. I think I got that right this time. So let's take a deep dive now into Michelle, your experience with interviewing these 250 reporters. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we like to do a state of the press, right? Sort of like what's happening with our press. We have a service that I co-founded called pitchrate.com that connects experts, information officers with journalists who are looking for sources right now. And so we actually interviewed them on like, what really makes a difference for you? So does having a book make a difference? Do you want to be called? Do you want to be emailed? Just the basic, how does technology actually, do you want an online press kit? Do you not want to, like what kind of, what are the journalists needing as far as tools and their preferences? And that was the state of the questions.
That's great. Okay. Well, all right. There's authors and speakers and there's a whole bunch of people that really have an interest in media right now. I think that there's like a Zoom breakout in the world, right? Everybody's on Zoom. Everybody's doing virtual conferences. Everybody's trying to get your attention. But it's difficult to get the attention of a lot of people. But you do this. This is what you do day in and day out. So how do we get covered by the media?
Yeah, I've been doing this. Gosh, I say that I've been doing it from typewriters to Twitter, and that's true. When I first started pitching as a young publicist, we actually used typewriters, and there was like the old Brother typewriter that had 3 documents. And so, yeah,
you're not that old. I don't believe.
I am. And so the difference now is that people love to be emailed. So it's sort of like a thing that email me first and then we'll talk. We still like to do the dial and smile. So we still like to make our phone calls. But the bottom line is that are you pitching somebody that's in the beat of what you actually cover? So you got to think about, who's my audience? And am I actually speaking to somebody that can use the content that I have, right? You wouldn't so one of our clients is the Humane Society Silicon Valley. They're all about pets, right? So they know how to adopt a dog, what to do once you adopt a dog. We wouldn't take that client and then pitch a business editor because it wouldn't quite make sense unless we had a business story about the business of pets. So the main thing that when we interviewed all these journalists is they say that you've got to actually pitch me the right content for the beat, for the subject that I'm covering at the right time. The pandemic changed everything. So we used to see a news cycle, maybe 24, 48 hours, and it really went down to about 6 hours. So right about March and April was a huge shuffle. And the press was one of the most affected by furloughs and short staffing. So another thing is actually having resources for the press. So easy to use resources once they do have interest, and then letting them know how available you are, because sometimes they work after hours.
Well, I love that. You're known for being a storyteller to the media. So, how do you discover somebody's unique story so that you can pitch that to the media?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Everybody has a story. So a lot of times clients will come and say, gosh, I'm not an expert, or I don't have a fascinating story. I'm like, it's not true. It's just not true. There was a gentleman that he had grown up across from Disney, and then he had managed hotels, and then was the head of an international children's organization where they actually placed large sibling groups into homes. And I said, you know what? That is fascinating how you've always been about homes. Do you see that? Like whether you're across from Disney, then you're at a hotel, now you're finding orphans' homes. He said, you're crazy. I said, one day that's going to get you into the New York Times. He said, you're nuts. 2 years later, I still have the article. It's a beautiful travel article on Chris Sapia and his whole storyline. So just because you think you're not interesting doesn't mean that the rest of us aren't interested in you, right? What do you do, Ken, when you find an interesting story? Isn't it just what you want to hear around a campfire and all the ears perk up and we go, oh, I want to hear more?
I love that. Yeah, of course. That's exactly what I listen to. In fact, there's some unique ads right now that when I'm listening to YouTube and they come up and man, they just catch my attention. I'm like, well, I want to listen to the show, but the ad is so cool. I just want to listen to the ad. So speaking of ads, I'm going to take a quick break and then I'm going to give my audience a quick ad and then we'll be right back. Did you know that JB Wellness Labs is the leader in CBD and hemp-based formulations? JBK Wellness Labs is a respected contract and white label manufacturer who has helped many companies develop formulas that now can be seen on the shelves of Neiman Marcus, Whole Foods, Urban Outfitters, CVS, Kroger, Ritz-Carlton Hotels, Four Seasons Hotels, and multinational direct selling companies. If you'd like to find out how to get your product to market, then go to jbkwellnesslabs.com. That's jbkwellnesslabs.com. All righty. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is your host, Ken D. Foster. Today, our show is called The Courage to Uplevel Your Energy and Success. And I'm interviewing PR expert who's been in this business 25 years. Her name is Michelle Tennant Nicholson, and her company is Wasabi Publicity. They are my publicity company. So pay close attention. Michelle's got lots to offer here. All right, Michelle, let's take a quick dive into some of the surprises, I guess, that happen in social media that, that all of a sudden you're going down one path and they throw you a curve. How do we handle that?
Well, first of all, so we're talking about up-leveling in today's show.
We are.
So just in the, when we talked about energy, we talked about in the first segment, you talked about less drama, less trauma, less stress, right? This is something that we're talking about in this show, the courage to really change. That's what your new book is about, Ken. I want people to
what it's about.
Right? The courage to change. Everything starts in conversation. So when you're on social media and you have that reaction to somebody, I want you to stop and ask, what are you committed to in the conversation? Because just because that person's reacting to you doesn't mean you have to react back. You can actually up-level the conversation to an adult, right? We are all adults, right? So I'm a 50-year-old woman. If I'm interacting with a 14-year-old child on social media about a topic, it's appropriate for me to bring the age of a 50-year-old into that conversation. And I don't think that always happens from what I can tell on social media. So that's the first thing.
That's really good. Well, speaking of courage, okay, I think we need to have courage today to go out into the media in ways that maybe we haven't been bold enough or courageous enough to do. So, media is changing. People are changing. We're changing our dialogue. We're changing hopefully ourselves and evolving into the next level of evolution. So what is that next level, that courageous actions that people need to take right now when approaching the media? Let's go there.
No, you're the one. So the main difference between people who actually get to be on Good Morning America or Oprah or your radio show, they know that they have something to offer the public. And that's where you start. What do you have to say that makes a difference for the public good at large? If you can figure that out, you've got a story. There are many times that clients come to us and I have to use my master's degree in human development and pump them up like a psychologist would, Like, what do you mean? Of course, let's talk about getting your courage up about public speaking or whatever it is. So knowing that you're the one, knowing that you have something to say to the press all year long, whether they're covering, like, soon it's going to be back to school, then it's going to be the holidays of light, then it's going to be New Year's, then it's going to be spring. There's a drumbeat that the press always is looking for experts in content, and you make a difference. You are the one. They want you.
Yeah, I think that is such a powerful message. I really love that. So how do we become the one?
We got to get organized. You got to be succinct, because that's the other pet peeve that they have. They don't like, they don't like. Do you ever talk to somebody and it takes them maybe 5 minutes to get to the point?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what not to do. So if you can practice saying who you are, go to your next cocktail party, your next Zoom party, whatever it is, and practice saying who you are in 45 seconds or less. Like I'll start. Who I am is a publicist. What's that you say? I put people on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. Done. Right? But other people, it takes them 3 hours to say what they do. And you're like, we just don't have the luxury of time anymore. Back when we were using the Brother typewriter, we at least had a week to make the point, right? Yeah. Now we
I think you make a really good point, and it comes down to how fast can you capture somebody's attention, right? Yeah. I believe we have about 8 to 10 seconds to capture their attention. If we don't have it, then they're going on to the next thing, and I think media knows that, so they want you to capture that attention and be at the like you said, be the one that also knows how to capture attention, create a hook, and then talk about your product or service. Is that? Yeah.
Entertain, educate, inspire. Mm-hmm. Those are your 3 things, right? Yeah. So for a radio show like what we're doing today has to be somewhat entertaining. You have to have some good stories because you want people to pay attention. But we also have to educate. What new scoop can you bring to this party? What new information are you sharing? And then inspire. We all want to be inspired. Otherwise,
we want to be inspired. Well, thinking about inspiring. So let me ask you this. So how do you see your business evolving here in the with this global village that we have? How do you see your company evolving, and how do you fit into the next evolution of this world?
I have a dream that we actually share good stories. Could you imagine waking up and just hearing good stories, positive stories that uplift, that ignite the brain in a positive way, that we're all like, our brains are, rather than being shut down and punished every day, that our brains are ignited and inspired. That's what I want to actually shift marketing so that it's not solving a problem, but that it's actually inspiring. And then that is, it may not happen in my lifetime, Ken, but it's something that I really want to seed and have happen for our children's children.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, well, listen, I'm going to add Penelope Jean Hayes back to our stream right now, and I want to ask you both a question. I'll start with you, Michelle. So in today's environment, what's your message to the world right now?
Watch what you consume, because what you consume consumes you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Penelope, how about you?
Follow your passion. There's a reason why you're here.
And I'm going to say this: step into your greatness. Step into who you are. Don't allow anybody to pull you down. Get that message of who you are into the world. This world right now, everybody's looking for a leader. Stop looking for leaders. You are the leader. Go out and make a difference today. If you were courageous, what would you do today to take somebody's life to a new level? How about yours? How about your life to a new level? If you were courageous, keep asking that question. If I'm courageous, what can I do now? If I'm courageous, what can I do now? Tap into your courage. All right, next question. What do you see the biggest challenges coming up for the world today? Michelle?
The biggest challenges is complaints and not taking accountability for the role that you play in that narrative, right? So a lot of us are not, I'm like listening to you and I'm not being responsible for my view and my filter of what you're saying. And so I invite people to really be more curious and ask more questions so that we can understand each other better.
That's awesome. Okay, Penelope, you biggest challenge the world's facing today?
Unity. And with unity, we have to listen to each other. Where everybody's so busy talking And we think we know everything, and we think that our viewpoint is the most important. But if we all just listened a little bit to the other side, we might start opening our perspective and changing the world.
I love it. I'm going to answer that too. I think the biggest challenge today is lack of common sense. Where does common sense come from? It comes from slowing down.